Okay, this image was drawn on the iPad using a syrup brush in various sizes, just the one brush I used. And I'm just creating this character as I go, just making him up, making decisions as I go. And I always use this hatching to make a shade on the face. But the interesting thing this time, using the iPad, is I'm going to use hatching to do the lighter areas as well, and it's really worked a treat in this instance. So just building the character up bit by bit and getting some hair in there. Like I say, it's the same brush, just changing the size of it, and obviously using pressure differences to get different shapes with the brush. Using the Apple pencil and filling in this texture now with this hatching technique. But what I'm going to do is drop a bit of colour in there, but I'm going to use a layer that's underneath the black layer, so the black line layer. I'm going to use a layer underneath for some white additions, including some white hatching in the areas of the face that would have light on them, and it's really effective. It just kind of really works. I wouldn't usually do this. I'd only put the hatching usually where the shade was, so I'm kind of inverting that idea and putting the lighter hatching where light would be. It just really works a treat in the sort of the depth of detail. Quite a nice technique. So I've ended up with this little guy, quite pleased with, so I'm just going to take him into Photoshop. What's great about Procreate is it saves layers, so you can export it as a PSD straight into Photoshop and carry on working. So I'm just going to change the canvas size here, give myself a bit more space to play with. It's a ridiculously big canvas. This is 12,000 pixels by 9,500 pixels. It's quite a big canvas. So what I'm going to do here is just I'm going to drop a layer behind, and I've made this selection, circular selection, using the marquee tool, and I'm just going to fill it with a colour. A dark colour, black, and with a soft brush, real soft brush, I'm just going to make, it's a bit much, so I just want it really subtle, like that, about there, super. And then I'm going to load the selection by pressing Command and hitting the layer, or Control and hit the layer on a PC. And then I'm going to create a new layer, channel layer, and then with that selection loaded, I'm just going to fill it with white, and then go to Filter, Pixelate, Color Halftone, and then I'm just going to put some values in here. I'm going to keep these at 100 actually. You can play with the values and get different types of halftone, different shapes, different results with the halftone. But because I've got that loaded, I can delete the channel layer that I made, delete the layer that I initially made with the brush. I just want the selection, and now I can fill this with a colour, solid colour, on a new layer. So we choose the blue that's in this character's face and fill that in there. That's super. It's dead simple, really simple. This image is really, there's not a lot of layers involved. It's just line image and a few details going in. So I've made a selection from the black line, and I've gone to select, modify and feather. So I've just feathered it by 33 pixels, and the reason I do that is I use this image that I've just brought in here, which is a load of dots. I've used this before. I built this image, it's thousands and thousands of dots on a grid, and I just load that selection across there, and then I can copy and paste back into the image that I'm using, and you end up with these fantastic half-tone dots that kind of follow where the line image is, and I just find it quite effective. And you can do all sorts with it here, but what I'm going to do now is just get a using the eraser, get a soft edge brush, take the opacity down a little bit, and just take out those dots where the light should be in the face, so in the eyes and the pupils, with the light shining on the eyes and all the other light areas. I'm just going to rub out the dots, but leave them where the darker areas will be. It's a great little bit of texture. I just find it effective. Something I like to do a lot. It's part of my style. Kind of really works. Just adds a bit of interest. It's something that works for me. So I'm just going to speed this process up a little bit because we'll be here all day. It takes a little bit of time just rubbing all these light areas out. I'll whip through it. So through the hair, into the eyes, just around the nose and stuff. That's about right. That'll do. Okay, let's have a zoom out. It's looking good. Quite like it. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is just add some text. So using the text tool, I'm just going to drop a bit of text in here. This guy looks like a bohemian character, so I'm just going to use the caption "Bodaciously Boho," which I thought was quite cool. There's going to be dropped down at the bottom. Center it up. I'm going to change it to black. I'm just going to select the layers together here and turn this character around 90 degrees. Once I've done that, you'll see what I'm doing. I'm going to change the whole canvas and turn that 90 degrees counterclockwise so that it's now portrait and not landscape. I just wanted that space. I just centered it up. Then I've got a bit more room to play with. Looks better as well. So I'm just going to nudge that text down. I just want to put a stroke around this text. Just center that up a bit better. So I'm going to go to this text layer and just hit stroke. Fetch the blue. Actually, I want white. We'll change that to white. So on the outside, an outer stroke. I want that to be white first. I'm going to do two strokes actually. First I'm going to use white. So I've just that first stroke I've created a layer from it, so it's a layer in its own right, because I'm going to put a stroke around that now using the blue. So you end up with this kind of double colour effect around the text. You'll see what I mean in a second. So choosing the blue that's in the character, so it all ties in. I've got a slither of white first, and then a blue stroke as well around that. It works really nicely. Happy with that. So I'm just going to create a mask on that half tone, because I've seen that there's some bits down here, look, that are just dropping below the character. I'm just going to create a mask and use a black brush and just brush them away so they're not showing. Okay. I'm just going to drop this text down a little bit lower. And I'm going to create a new text layer. I'm going to call this, his name is Geoff McGeoff. That's what I've named this guy. Geoff McGeoff. just because he's so boho. He's got a name like Geoff McGeoff. I don't know where Geoff McGeoff came from. It popped into my head. I thought that's cool. That'll do. Geoff McGeoff, and he is Bohemian. Yes, he is. So I'm going to do the same thing with this. Obviously, the values will be slightly different because the text is slightly smaller. I say quite a lot smaller. Just going to drop that other text, the first text, down a bit lower. Bodaciously boho. So I've got a bit more space for this Geoff McGeoff text. That looks about right. So I'm just going to do the same thing. Create two strokes. The first one being white. Okay, and just drop it down so it makes sense. I want it to echo what I've done with the first lot of text as well. It's grand. Create the layer from it. So you just right click on the layer, effect, and choose create layer. And then it's a layer in its own right, so then you can put another stroke around that and affect that again, which I'm doing. I'm just choosing the blue that's in the character again. Something like that. That's grand. Yep, happy with that. Just centre it all up. And that will just about do for me. Geoff McGeoff, Bodaciously boho. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching this video. Please hit subscribe so you can get updates from this channel. Please hit like if you've liked this video. Have a great day, and bye for now.